We are live. Welcome to this week's edition of the Bullpen Cart presented by ThunderblogSports.com. I, of course, am the G-Man, Jordy Cannell, and joining me, as always, my man, straight out of Beantown, Greg Piatelli. How are you, my friend?
Living the dream, Jordy. Got to go to Fenway on Friday. Had to fix my hockey skates on Saturday. You know, one day
Change the blades?
Nah, the lost like 3 rivets over the weekend, so
it's not good.
Or last week, so I had to replace them. But it is what it is. No big deal.
Yeah.
Now, pumped to be in the pod. Obviously, pumped for the number 1 team in all of baseball record-wise, going up against the first place Philadelphia Phillies in a 2-game
Phils, baby,
series at the glorious Fenway Park.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. We're recording this literally within minutes of the game starting. So we're going to try to preview it, and you can laugh at how wrong Greg is and how right I am, because Aaron Nola is going to mow down the Red Sox, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
You don't know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's a good point. You were a big fan of Aaron Nola the last time we were on. And for those that have not listened, it's been 2 weeks since we recorded. This is the first one since the All-Star break finished. We wanted to kind of give a little bit of time so we could build into our hot and cold teams and all the top players and all that good stuff. I was also on vacation last week in Michigan, so I was in a little more of a remote area internet-wise, which is nice. Nice to unplug, recharge, see the fam, all that good stuff. But I'm super pumped for the second half. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The non-waiver deadline is tomorrow, Tuesday, when you're probably listening to this. So hopefully we have a nice, busy trade deadline. Obviously, last year we saw a little bit more action in August for the waivers. So we'll see. We'll see how tomorrow goes. But
yeah, quick question. Who do the Phillies sign?
Well, I was going to save that for when we do a little bit later, but
we can save it. No, we can save it. We can save it.
We'll save it. Yeah, the little teaser right there. You want to start though? Hot and cold teams.
Jordy, let's save it.
Yeah, we'll save it. Hot and cold teams. Let's roll right into there. Let's start in the American League.
American League, hot team, obviously.
That's pretty obvious.
No question about it. The Boston Red Sox. 41 games. Yes, I said that correctly. 41 games above 500.
That's
41 games above 500.
Unreal.
The last time they did that was 1941, I think, or 43, something like that, when they won the American League pennant. So big signs there. But
does that make you wish, because back then it was just who won in the regular season, does that just make you wish that it was still that you just got it because you're that high up and you don't want to pull Cleveland Indians last year?
No, because at the same time, if that was the case, 04 never happens, 07 never happens. So
that's true.
Definitely it's all about the playoffs, right? Because if that were the case, the Patriots would win every single Super Bowl every year. And not that they don't do that already, but it'd be a little more fair for the rest of the league.
Last year.
It would be a little more fair for the rest of the league. And, you never know. So yeah. I think playoffs are there for a reason. I'm pumped for it. And injuries happen throughout the year. Look at we can talk about the team that will bet. Remains not to be mentioned, but hot team of the week for me, Boston Red Sox. This past week took 3 out of the 4 from the Twins. Was on pace to take 2 out of 3 from the Angels, but it got postponed halfway through. They were up like 6-0 after 4 innings, and they called it. Red Sox were pissed about that.
Yeah, I would be too if I was them. I mean, that's rough, and it's one of those things where why don't they just suspend it, especially if you're up that big anyway. I know there's all the official game stuff and all that, but just a bummer to see. But yeah, nonetheless, I mean, you're smacking teams coming off of the 3 out of 4 from the Twins that you were just talking about, and about to face the Phillies. But I mean, look at some of these scores. You only lost 2-1 on Thursday, and then the 4-3, 10-4, just really, really pushing it on the Twins, and you forced them to make some trades. I mean, you probably cemented them into seller status. I mean, they're 8 games under 500 now, but the Red Sox helping other teams decide what to do. So a little bit of an influencer too.
Yeah. No, I mean, they, like you mentioned, scoring a ton of runs, and baseball is fun to watch when your team's scoring. Pitching duels are fun. I was at the game Friday when there was a little pitching duel, and Kimbrel blew it in the ninth, their closer. But other than that, offense is fun, but also seeing a strong pitching performance is always fun. That was a Chris Sale start, so you don't get to. I didn't get to. Haven't really gotten to seen him too much. So excited I got to see that in person. But listen, Jordy, I don't know what else to say about this team that we haven't been saying all year. The biggest negative, I think, is their bullpen, but hopefully there's some moves made tomorrow for that. Again, more to talk about later. But tearing the cover off the ball is certainly fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to keep moving, though, and I'm going to take my hot team of the week, and it's real slim pickings in the American League. So I'm going to go with the Cleveland Indians, who have won 6 out of their last 10 and have really, they beat the teams that are on their schedule. Their only series loss in really since the All-Star break ended is to the Pirates, who are red hot, and I'm sure we'll get to them in a second. But they just took care of business against the Tigers over the weekend, took care of business against the Rangers right after the deadline ended last week and really smacked them around. So, I mean, we're starting to see them really, we mentioned the Twins, but we're starting to see them really pull away in that division. They have the largest lead in the American League and in Major League Baseball as a whole at 9 games over the Twins. And we're probably going to see this slowly but surely increase. They're plus 94 in the run differential. Their offense is getting better and better really by the week. And now they are just behind the Yankees for the second best offense in the AL.
I hope this is an honorable mention because the hot team of the week is clearly the Red Sox.
Oh, yeah. For those that are new to the show, we both pick one team. So the Red Sox are far and away the best, but since you took them, I have to take something else, Greg. I have to explain it. It's almost like, for those that listen to Pardon My Take, they do the snake draft. You already took them. I can't pick them. Except we just do one. We don't keep snaking.
No free ads here. No free ads. But no,
if you listen to them, you probably, or to us, you probably have listened to them.
The Indians, definitely a good team. Thing that they need to certainly improve upon is winning on the road.
For sure.
500 there. But so are the Twins. And the AL Central is nowhere near what it used to be, and certainly not as dominant as it was. It's funny how, when the Royals were good, every team in that division was good, and now, none of them are good, and they only have one good team, and it's just funny how it's cyclical like that. So interesting, but, it is what it is, and definitely a team going to be in the playoff picture, and definitely a team that's going to be in the playoffs, so it's just a matter of can Minnesota make a move, or will they be sellers? And if they are buyers at the deadline, can they actually make a push and come back, or will the Indians go on another run like they did last year at the end of August, September, and win however many in a row they won like last year?
Yeah, I don't know if they get up to that in terms of the winning streak, but I mean, the Indians have already really been buying. We'd be remiss to not point out that they've already gone out and gotten Brad Hand from the San Diego Padres, who we have a little bit to talk about them later on. But Hand has already shown to be a jack of all trades. He has both a save and a hold in 4 appearances since getting acquired. So I mean, really, they're starting to load up, and like you mentioned, bullpen is the name of the game, and they have a pretty stellar bullpen already, and just adding more to it is definitely something that'll help you out. And especially when it prevents teams like the Red Sox from adding a big asset like Brad Hand.
Yeah, much needed bullpen guy. Definitely needed that, but you never know. I think, as you mentioned, Cleveland making some good moves. I still think, well, we'll get into who I think is the sleeper on the market that people should target. But
sure.
There. Let's move on, Jordy. Are we doing cold teams for the American League?
Yeah, let's do cold teams, and then we'll move over to the National League.
So I went first last time. You can go first this time.
Yeah, so my cold team is going to be Really got a lot to choose from here, but I'm going to go with the Minnesota Twins. We just talked about them losing 3 out of 4 to the Red Sox and really cementing themselves out of that picture. I mentioned that they've been selling a little bit, making some moves to a couple other teams, trying to get some, trying to get some assets back. They just traded earlier this afternoon Zach Duke, one of their relievers, to the Mariners. They got a couple prospects, minor leaguers, Chris DeYoung and Ryan Costello from the Mariners back. And I mean, they got swept by the Royals on the road. They're pretty abysmal there. I mean, they looked like they were going to be in this wild card chase just like last year, and just a lot of shortcomings for them. Their pitching staff really has turned the wrong corner, if you will. Their offense has been okay, but not great at 468 runs scored. You mentioned their road record. They're 15 games under 500 at 19-34, and are currently 8 games under 500. Losers of 6 of their last 10 ball games. So really not in a good position if you're the Minnesota Twins.
No, certainly not. And something that I think gets overlooked a little bit is they have some guys in their team that are playing really well this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Outfielder Rosario, Eddie Rosario,
yep.
Having an unbelievable season. So they have some guys who are doing well, and they individually, offensively, I should say, and they have a lot of young talent. They're going to be good for a little bit if they stop trading away these guys. But and it sounds like they're loading up a little bit. It sounds like they are trading away and loading up even more young guys. So, but as you mentioned, you can't win in especially the American League without starting pitching.
No.
And if anyone's proving that to be true, it's the Phillies. Look at them last year compared to this year. Last year, I mean, the Mets. The Mets, when they're starting pitching, was doing really well. They were going to the World Series and playoffs every year, and ever since they've been hurt or doing bad, they're now at the bottom of the barrel. So.
Yeah.
One thing at a time, but my cold team of the week, Jordy, the Houston Astros.
Okay.
They also just added Robert Ozuna.
From the Blue Jays.
From the Blue Jays.
For Ken Giles, former Philly, who was traded from them a couple years ago. And I believe the Phillies got Vince Velasquez for him.
But I think Ozuna's still suspended.
He is. He's still suspended. I saw today. He may not play a game for him if this. So for those that don't know, Roberto Ozuna has been suspended for a domestic violence issue, and there's still a pending court case, I believe. And I think if it gets dragged on, the suspension might just stick, and he might not get to play for him.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
So Houston's on a 4-game losing streak right now, including being swept by the Texas Rangers in the battle for Texas. The only thing that's saving them, Houston, is the fact that Seattle also has hit a little bit of spud since the break. So, it helps Houston retaining, still hanging on to first place there. The fact they're able to stumble a little bit, but there are 2 runs in the differential. They plus 179, Red Sox plus 177. So they still have that title as for now. The thing that is the scariest about the Houston Astros is their ability to win on the road. The fact that they're a team that almost plays better away from Minute Maid Park. Last year, especially in the playoffs, the Red Sox lost both games at Fenway and then won down in Houston, or did better in Houston. So, if they can clean up their home ballpark a little bit, I don't foresee them. It's going to be a tough out for anybody who faces them, especially since they're so good on the road.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, that's a really good pick. I was kind of hoping you'd take them. I wanted to mention the Twins making some trades, but definitely have to always keep the Astros, the defending champs, in mind. And the A's, too, losers of 3 straight, so good honorable mention there. But they're still right in there. They've made trades as well. And I have a little bit of news for them a little bit later, kind of on the same note as the San Diego Padres. But let's move on to the National League. hot team. I will start, and I'm going with the Colorado Rockies.
Nice.
The winners of 4 straight, 8 of their last 10 games. They just swept the Oakland Athletics, split with the Astros last week, and then took 2 or 3 from the Diamondbacks, including a wild 11-10 game. The Colorado Rockies, though, Greg, right back into the NL West chase. There were talks that these guys might be selling, and I don't think they're going to be doing that now. And if they are, it's going to be because they start off really shitty in August. They're now 10 games above 500. They have a better record technically they're a half game back than the Phillies. Saw the same number in the loss column and thought they might have the better record. But they, we've talked about it all year for them. Their offense is stellar. They have 500 runs, which not a lot of teams in the NL have done. A number of teams in the AL have, including your Red Sox, the New York Yankees, the Cleveland Indians, the A's, and the Astros. But only the Cubs and the Dodgers have eclipsed the 500-run mark in the National League. So the Rockies right there. But on the flip side, the Rockies have also let up over 500 runs, which the only teams that have also done that are the Marlins, the Padres, both teams pretty much purposefully trying to lose, and the Cincinnati Reds, who have had a great month of July, but still we've mentioned their pitching staff and how bad it's been. A little more on that when we talk about the Phils and their escapades in Cincinnati last weekend. But
the Phillies, anyway.
Yeah, well, the Rockies are right there, and I mean we've been talking about it a lot. They're also very good on the road, 30-23, and I think that's been a lot of their turnaround. So we'll see how they do, what they do tomorrow and going into August. But the fact that they're right there behind a Diamondbacks team who's loaded up, a Dodgers team who's very much so loaded up and getting Machado, the Rockies, are hanging in there, and it's great to see.
Yeah, no, great pick, and certainly the choice this week for the National League Hot Team of the Week. I'm going to go with a bottom of the barrel team. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Reds. And I'm not trolling you, but
no, they've had an awesome July. I'm not even kidding about that.
They won 5 of their last 7,
yep,
including 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals and 3 out of 4 from the Phillies. So they certainly are a team that it's almost one of those things when you have nothing to play for, you have nothing to lose, you might as well go out and have some fun. And when teams do that, they seem to do better. And you could point to the Red Sox in 04 when they went out and had fun. They played well and they won games, right? And you could argue the Phillies when they won, same thing. And the Astros last year, they just looked like they were having fun at all times. And when the pressure's off and you're having fun doing what you're doing, wins seem to just happen and balls seem to find you in the outfield and all that stuff. And I think that's what happened a lot this weekend, or in the last 7 games for them. Like I said, winners of 5 out of 7. So, and they beat the Cardinals and the Phillies, who are both very much in the playoff mix. The Cardinals have a little longer road, but they're still in it. So, tougher road.
Think about this, too. They've only lost 2 series in July. They got swept by the Pirates coming out of the All-Star break. But in July, they took 2 of 3 or really split a series, 2 of 4 with the Brewers, but the last game was in the month of July. 2 of 3 from the White Sox, lost a series to the Cubs, lost 2 of 3. Took 2 of 3 against the Indians in Cleveland, and then 2 of 3 again to the Cardinals in St. Louis. We've talked about Matt Harvey a lot. He's had an awesome resurgence, if you will, with the Reds, and he might be a guy that's on the move. So they've definitely have had an awesome month. And really, if you're the Phils, you just caught a team that's playing with nothing to lose at the wrong time, and you can be bummed about that, which you should be. But at the same time, other teams have been slowing down as well, and good for the Reds. It's kind of like that guy at the British Open that was hungover on the going into Sunday and still shot 5 under and posted the low card in the clubhouse before Francesco Molinari went off. But this is not a golf podcast. It's a baseball podcast. So let's move on. Cold team of the week. Greg, I'll let you start since I went first in the AL. Who do you got?
Me wanted to say the Philadelphia Phillies just to troll you, but I'm not going to. I will resist.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to go with a team that's been sputtering ever since the All-Star break, and that's been the Washington Nationals.
Oh, yeah.
And playing 500 baseball and losing to the Miami Marlins or splitting with Miami Marlins in a series is going to compete and to be fair, if you're against teams that are in the playoffs, and then in a four team 6 games back now in the NL East, and even further in the they should trade him now so they don't lose him later. But if they can get a hit, if they can convince someone to do it, it might not actually be that bad of an idea. So my cool team would definitely be the Nationals, and of course, their superstar Trey Turner just had some tweets come out, and that's another question I wanted to ask you, because we had the Braves pitcher and Trey Turner both have tweets come out and what have you. You would think at this day and age, correct me if I'm wrong, but you would think at this day and age, every team would have like an intern, especially in the summer, or have someone, or maybe Major League Baseball. We could talk to Stevie G since he works for them. Just have someone go through every single player's tweets, who's going to be in the major leagues, and get rid of anything offensive, whatever, so that you don't create a PR problem for not only yourself but the entire league.
No, I totally,
because already baseball has a I don't want to say a racial problem, but a big thing is the fact that people talk about it's yes, there's a lot of international players, but it's still pretty predominant in terms of all the managers are white, all the GMs are white, and there's what the percentage of black players is down from what it's been in years past, and it's there's a lot of Latina players, but there's not a lot of Asian players and not a lot of black players, so a league that certainly has some race issues, maybe not to the scale of other sports, but just wanted to get your thought on why more teams or players don't have someone going through their old tweets for them.
No, I totally agree with that. And just to clarify, not all the managers are white. There is Dave Roberts, the guy.
I said the majority. Did I say
the majority? All? Okay. Yeah, I think you said all the GMs, and that's what registered in my brain. But yeah, no, it's predominantly. No, you're absolutely right. But I mean, with the tweets, that's a really good point of why isn't there somebody that combs through this? I mean, just like the infamous Chris Carter, you got to have a fall guy. Like, why aren't teams doing this? Like,
yeah,
don't advertise the fact like, oh, intern from whatever state, we need you to go do this, or whatever you want to do. Because especially too, you saw it with Josh Hader 2 weeks ago during the All-Star game where these popped up. You'd think if you did something like that, if you're Trey Turner, if you're Sean Newcomb, the guy that's throwing a no-hitter yesterday, and the internet, who always wins, manages to ruin your no-hitter before the no-hitter got ruined.
And Newcomb's from Mass, which makes us look even more bad, or New England or something.
Yeah. Ooh. But
no, but that's just the thing is like, how as a team, every team has a social media team, right? Every organization, I should say, has a social media team. So how do they not turn around and go through players' tweets? Or how does Major League Baseball not talk to players? I mean, these guys are even the guys who are making minor league salary, which is still 6 figures. How do they not turn around and hire someone? Here's $1,000 for 2 days work. Go through all my tweets and delete anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
especially when you saw it happen to Hader 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
How many other players has it happened to besides Hader in Major League? It's just it's been happening all over the place. And I understand that people can go back and screenshot, and maybe they have deleted it after the Hader thing, and maybe people screenshotted it then. But it's just one of those things where I mean, these kids, were 19 and 18 when a couple years after we were 19 and 18, and I'm sorry, but that's not an excuse. When I was 19,
Yeah, I was about to say that's still you shouldn't be saying that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when I was 19 and 18 years old, I was smart enough to know not to tweet dumb stuff, and I was also smart enough not to tweet stupid song lyrics or anything that would be whatever. And I mean, you would think that, I don't know, maybe you and I are special, but I just you can't blame the whole 19 young excuse, because
No.
And quite frankly, Jordy, I'm always someone who normally sides with the player on things like this, in terms of how can you vilify someone for something they said X amount of years ago, and whatever. But at the same time, something where like a tweet or even a status on Facebook or something that is out there, you have to imagine someone's going to find it eventually. So,
oh yeah, 1,000,000%. Agreed.
That has to go into everything you said. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on a tangent. Didn't mean to get us off the rails. Who's your cold team of the week, Jordy? Unless you have something else to add about the tweet thing.
No, so all I wanted to, I totally agree. The fact that there isn't, for anybody, whether it's baseball, hockey, basketball, football, golf, whatever, that figures this out for you. Like you said, you could pay an 18-year-old $1,000. Go through my internet or anything on the internet really about me. Make sure I didn't say any dumb shit. If you did, delete it.
Right.
And boom, 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 boom.
Done.
Yeah, done. And yeah, you're absolutely right. No excuse for any of that, because you shouldn't be saying dumb shit on the internet. But just quickly, one last thing, because you mentioned Harper and the potential of trading. I totally agree. If you can get a good deal to try to trade him, we talked about this a lot with Joey Votto and how the Reds haven't been able to deal him because their asking price is so high. That's the only reason why I think he might not get moved. But if you really don't think he's coming back, get something for him. Figure something out. Go call up the Yankees. Call up whoever you think will be listening for it. I don't know necessarily like the Cubs would be open for it, because they just traded for Cole Hamels. There's probably some other teams that might be, but
yeah, I mean, does he have no trade?
Do what?
Does he have a no trade clause?
That I don't know. I don't, because I just no. I guess he signed an extension. He didn't sign. He isn't on his rookie contract.
Right. At the same time, if you're Bryce Harper, right? If you're Bryce Harper, you haven't had a great season. Why would you not want to be traded to a team that's in the playoff hunt? That way, you can turn around, prove your playoff worth, right?
Yeah.
Hit well down the stretch, hit well in the playoffs, prove that, which is only going to put money in your pocket. So I guess if they were to trade him, hopefully, he would accept it because it's to a team that's still in the hunt. But
yeah, exactly. Get the stink of also not getting out of the first round.
Yeah, I mean, not for nothing, but the Phillies could be a good option because they have a ton of young guys that they can transition and try and trade for him. And there's already an option that they were talking about getting him for the future. So, next year possibly. So there's a chance, why, for a team like Philadelphia who's in first, who they have some offense, but they definitely need more offense because they certainly don't hit the cover off the ball, and their pitching has been there. They just don't have the offense consistently. So, and he plays, that's a Little League park they have, and he'll just crush the right field wall like
well, regardless if it's a Little League park or not, Bryce Harper's numbers in Philadelphia are off the charts. I need to Google up what they are, but the guy murders the ball when he's there. It's definitely, it's also a lefties park more so even than your quote Little League park. But
that's what I was saying. Who remind me? My brain's lost. But who's the lefty that had played first base, did the Subway commercial?
Who? Ryan Howard?
Yeah.
You mean you don't remember the great TV movie from The Office, The Big Piece?
He crushed Citizens Bank Park. So it'd be
he did. Jim Thome did. Shout out to Jim Thome, who got in the Hall of Fame this weekend.
It'd be a smart move for the Phillies. I understand that everything can change, but there's a lot of teams out there that I think could add value from him. But I mean, even the Diamondbacks. But regardless,
the Diamondbacks would be a great option.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies have the young guys to do it, I guess is the thing. The Red Sox need a lefty at bat, but they don't have the young guys to do it. So, they just don't have the prospects. So, it is what it is. Gabe the Babe and Cora,
I feel like if Harper does get traded, it would be like Justin Verlander. It'd probably be something that the Washington Nationals work on for a couple weeks, do it during the waiver period, and figure out how to make this work in the correct way. Um, I don't think they're going to turn around tomorrow and figure something out like that, or even do some sort of 1-for-1 type of deal. But it'll be interesting to see how it all goes.
And do you think the Nationals are still holding on hope that they're going to keep him, which is why they're, we're not going to trade you, and that way you come back? Like, that's just a dumb move, right?
Like the only reason why I wouldn't see them trading is because we've now seen this precedent of teams trading in August during the waiver period.
Yeah.
And the Nationals are only 6 games out, and the Phillies aren't playing the best baseball. The Braves have seemingly gone cold, although they're right there in the hunt as well for the division. I mean, the real thing is that their starting pitching staff is going into shambles of that people are arguing in the dugout and all that different stuff. So if they figure that out and they start winning a couple ball games here and there, maybe. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it all goes because I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the Nationals are thinking in terms of they think they can get it.
Maybe I guess you're right. Maybe they are holding out that they're going to win. Maybe they're holding out. They're gonna catch up, but anyway, let's move on here. Jordy, do we? Let's just do hot players. Let's skip the cold. Give me a hot player for the last.
You want to skip my cold team?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all good. You had asked before, and I didn't answer your question. I went on more about the Nationals.
I mean, I forgot Ryan Howard's name, so it's very plausible for me to forget who said what in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's all good. We got a little fired up, but I'm going to go with the San Francisco Giants, a team that was hanging around in that West Division race, and really have really fallen off since the All-Star break. Losers of 7 of their last 10, now gone under 500. They're really good at home. They're 10 games above 500 there, and not a lot of teams can say that. Not even not the Dodgers, not the Diamondbacks, not the Rockies. But they're abysmal away from home. They've only won 21 games, or 21-32. They're minus 31 in terms of their run differential, and they've allowed 464 in terms of runs against, but their runs scored is pretty low. It's 433, and that was something. When I was picking the Giants earlier this year, I think I picked them to finish second in the division. I was pretty bullish on their offense, and I know they've had some injuries and whatnot, but it's definitely, it looked like they were hanging on there, and maybe they could make something happen. But now it's really it's gone the other way. So I think we're starting to see a team like them fall off. I don't know if they can really make a ton of trades because I think they have either big contracts or older guys that are a little more talented. So I don't know if we'll necessarily see the San Francisco Giants floating around in the next couple days or in as August gets loaded up, but they're definitely falling their way out of the playoff picture.
Great pick, Jordan.
And I'm actually reading now their GM does not think they're out of it yet, or at least a source that's close.
It's a team that we had talked about. It's a team that I was never high on. I know you were based on the moves they made in the offseason, but I was never a fan, especially because Pablo, he's always going to have a negative stain for me. But great pick, great choice for a cold team of the week. And as you mentioned, 6.5 games back, and it's kind of like the Nationals situation where they're not out of it, but the Dodgers made a ton of moves to get better. So, and the Rockies, were the hot team of the week. So really need to do something in order to stay relevant and stay at least in the wild card race if you can't get back to the top.
No, for sure. But yeah, let's move over to the top players of the week. You want to start AL top player?
Sure. My hot player of the week, Jordy, is going to be Matt Chapman, third baseman from the Oakland Athletics.
Good pick.
Thank you. He had 462 this week on base percentage, or OPS of 1.58. 9 runs, 3 home runs for himself, 6 RBIs total. Great week for a team that had a good week on their own. A team that, as you mentioned, is making moves to stay in the playoff race, especially the wild card race, and really fighting for that second wild card place to play essentially the Yankees. Trying to catch up to Seattle, who is one game in the win column, but one game in the win column ahead of them. So definitely a team that is right there, and a team that scares me personally just because of their success versus the Red Sox this year. But the Oakland Athletics, like I said, sorry, Matt Chapman for me is the hot player of the week. Jordy?
I'm going to go with Adam Jones of the Baltimore Orioles, who's had himself a very good week, batting .417, 10 for 24, home runs, 7 ribbies. This is a guy whose name has been thrown around in terms of trade talks for most of the season. He's had a pretty good year batting, not as much power as we've seen, over the last few years, but he's definitely having himself a good ramp up to the trade deadline. Like I said, his name now, especially that Manny Machado has been moved, is really starting to float around much more towards the trade deadline. So we'll see if he does get dished either tomorrow on July 31st or in August. Had himself a decent July, batting .279. That home run that he had a couple days ago against the Tampa Bay Rays. This is only homer of the month. He only had 12 ribbies, but definitely a good guy to add some depth into an outfield, almost like Curtis Granderson last year for the Dodgers, a guy that traditionally does well hitting and has a lot of power or potential for power. But yeah, at the age of 32, he's probably a good guy to add, and especially for a lot of the young teams that are competing, could be a good presence in a dugout in a clubhouse.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Baltimore, there's nothing to lose but to trade everyone. I thought for sure you were going Mike Trout, but I obviously didn't pick him out of recency bias. But Mike Trout, honorable mention has to be 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 4 stolen bases this week.
No, that's also a very good pick.
Last 7 days, but that was I'm glad you didn't. Great pick there, Jordy. Why don't you start with National League Player of the Week?
Oh, you're giving me the layup. I'm going with Christian Yelich from the Milwaukee Brewers. .517 batting average last week. Guy had 3 homers, 10 RBI, a couple, or really 3 doubles, and a triple. Had a slugging percentage, Greg, of 1,000. Just under your boy Matt Chapman's, which was 1038. But Yelich has been an awesome addition to that Milwaukee Brewers team, who is still hanging on in that divisional race. They have the second best record in the National League, same number in the win column as the Chicago Cubs. And Lorenzo Cain's come back. These guys have started to heat up a little bit, so it's looking like that they're starting to be for real. And if guys like Yelich and really that whole team continue to be hot and keep pounding away, they're probably going to see themselves in the postseason hosting that wild card game. Or if the Cubs slip up a little bit, maybe they get that division title.
Yeah, Jordy, great pick. Obviously, definitely unanimous hot player of the week there. But I thought you were going to go with your boy, so I'll take him. Home Run Derby participator Rhys Hoskins. 7 runs, 5 home runs, 9 RBIs in the last 7 days. 5 home runs in 7 days is a pretty good feat. Just hit a double off David Price in the first inning there. But Rhys has to be, for me, hot team of the week or hot player of the week after Yelich for sure.
And that's a great pick. I'm glad you brought up my boy Rhys, making the comment. Really, since the home run derby, he's torn the cover off the ball. You mentioned all the different home runs and everything. He's commented that he thought the home run derby helped him in terms of getting more confidence and getting more consistent. The guy's taken his batting average from 250 to now 260 after yesterday's game, but it was up as high as 262 on Saturday. But I mean, guy's murdering the ball. He has counting it up now since the All-Star break, 7 homers, and he's murdering it. I love it. He definitely needs to emerge there along with Odubel Herrera and as Jubal Cabrera, the new addition, to try to help out with some of that power, like you were talking about, Greg. And a little breaking news in terms of trades. I know it's not on hot or cold players, but just saw this. The Twins have traded Lance Lynn to the New York Yankees for first baseman Tyler Austin and pitcher Luis Arijo, per FanCred's John Heyman. And the Yankees adding another starting pitcher, Greg. So we'll see how that works out for him.
Heard it here first.
Yeah. Really, you're going to be hearing it tomorrow morning, so you probably already saw it. But like you mentioned before, starting pitching. Right? Yeah, he used to be for the Cardinals. He was on the Twins this year, having himself a decent season. And kind of
what
was that?
He's like 6'5", 6'4", isn't he?
Yeah, big boy.
He's pretty bad. The Red Sox just got 2 runs off of him and jumped all over him. What day was that? Friday?
I would need to double check if that's the game. If you saw him pitch, then yes, it was Friday.
Yeah, that was 100%. It was him versus Sale. Yeah. He started well, but he's deceptive. He's got such a long windup, but good for them. Great transition, Jordy. Hot pitcher of the week since I started with player. Hot pitcher of the week, American League.
I'll let you start with it since you're the AL guy.
Nice.
What do you got?
All right. I want to go bullpen guy because that's who I am. That's my thing, my shtick, if you will. Blake Treinen, Oakland Athletics closer, 0 runs, 3 saves this week. But I'm gonna go ahead and go Trevor Bauer. Only 1 start in the last 7 days, but one win, 10 strikeouts, 7 innings, 0 earned runs, and a .57 WHIP. Certainly had a great start last time out. I think he's pitching tonight versus Minnesota, so we'll see how that goes. But
sure,
definitely the last 7 days. I mean, the guy who's already leading the whole league in strikeouts, or right up there in strikeouts throughout one of the league leaders in strikeouts, if not the league leader in strikeouts, only adding to it this week with his start, and that's after the bullpen guy. That's definitely my American League hot pitcher of the week.
Oh, sure. No, great pick there. I'm gonna go with, and it's a little tough pickings here in the AL, but I'm gonna go with Carlos Rondon of the Chicago White Sox. Had himself a decent week. 15.1 innings pitched over 2 starts, 14 Ks, got 1 win, 2.35 ERA, and a .72 WHIP. Pretty good week for him. He's probably not on the move or anything like that, but definitely in terms of all the other pitchers in the American League, it's been an interesting week in terms of starters. But you want to move over the NL? I can start with that.
Please.
I'm going to go with a pair of pitchers. A little cheat here, but I'm going to go with a pair of pitchers of a team we didn't get a chance to talk about a lot in the hot teams, and that's Joe Musgrove and Trevor Williams of the Pittsburgh Pirates, both of whom had themselves good weeks. Really just want to take this moment. I'll talk about Musgrove as the better of the two. 14 innings pitched, a 1.93 ERA, and a .93 WHIP. But the Pirates are also, just like the Colorado Rockies, clawing their way kind of into the race. The reason why I say that is that they are 2.5 games behind the Braves, who are I think that math works out to be 2.5 games behind the Diamondbacks. So they're 4 games, it looks like. Yeah, 4 games out from the wild card. So if they continue to have starting pitching that's doing pretty well, they might be right there. And really, I think that's what they need. Their offense is pretty good. So got to give a little credit where it's due in terms of where they're at. So I'm going with 2 guys from the Pirates.
Great pick there, Jordy. Great. I know frequent listener, one-time joiner / frequent writer is a big. Jared is a big Fan of the Buccos, right? Or what are they called?
Yeah, the Buccos and the Cubs. He is the weird duality there.
Imagine. So way to pay homage to him. I'm going to go with Shashin from Milwaukee Brewers, the pitcher.
Oh, sure.
12 innings pitched, 2 wins, 15 Ks, and 1.42 earned runs. In the 2 games, he had the benefit of pitching 2 games. 2 stars in the last 7 days. Obviously pitched well. I was going to go with Newcomb, the Atlanta Braves guy, also Mass guy, taking a no-hitter into the 9th and 2 outs in the 9th, and also pitched twice, 2 wins, blah, blah, blah. But, the tweets and all that had me shook and scared. My bullpen guy, Archie Bradley from the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think we talk about him every week.
Oh, yeah.
3 more holds this week, so good for him and a win. So
I'm going to take as my bullpen guy as another guy from the Diamondbacks, Yoshihisa Hirano.
Nice.
Yeah, he also has 3 holds. He did it in 3 games 3 games pitched in 3.2 innings pitched. He's a whip of .27 and 0 earned runs coming across the board. So definitely a great week for him.
Look at you. Nice job.
Yeah, I can't let you down, Greg.
Nice job.
Yeah.
It's really the fans. It's really the fans.
Yeah.
It's the bullpen card.
So speaking of fans, Greg, I don't know if this counts as a bleacher creature or just baseball people being fucking insane, but did you see the Braves announcer over the weekend being upset about Chase Utley and the rest of the Dodgers wearing shorts at batting practice?
I think I heard about it I think it was on the radio today, but
yeah.
I didn't hear the full story, so give me the recap.
Yeah, so basically, I think it was on Saturday, the Dodgers, who were down in Atlanta, where it's a bajillion degrees and super humid, instead of wearing Dodgers gear, they wore T-shirts and shorts out on the field. And the Braves announcer talked about specifically Chase Utley, but how they were all doing this. Now, it's a big disgrace to the fans, and especially the Dodger fans who travel to Atlanta to come see their team on the road, who aren't going to know who those players are because they're wearing T-shirts that don't say their names on the back. It's also worth noting that Chase Utley was wearing a strikeout cancer shirt. So, it doesn't really matter, I guess, if he's supporting a good cause if you don't know who's supporting a good cause. So good looking out by the Braves guy. The best part of it, though, if you can find the audio, which I'll try to attach to the blog post on here. So go to thunderblogsports.com, click on the post, and you can see this. He's doing this in the middle of an at-bat, and the batter lays down a bunt. And he goes, "Great bunt there." Then comes back to talk about how disappointed he is and how unprofessional the Dodgers were being.
So I just don't get. It must be an old white guy, right? This announcer.
Yeah, he's a very old white guy.
I just don't get. I don't get how he's disrespecting the fans or how the players disrespecting fans by wearing shorts. Like, people wear shorts all the time. Go to a basketball game. Go to the beach. Go to the ballpark. How many fans are wearing shorts themselves?
Yeah.
It's not like they're wearing spandex alone. Like, this isn't a swimming pool. They still have multiple layers of clothes on.
Yeah.
I just am really concerned and confused for this guy, and someone better check the safety of him. You said it was the Minnesota Twins. Is that accurate?
No. This was the Atlanta Braves.
Atlanta Braves. Sorry. Thank you.
The Braves announcer talking about the Dodgers at their ballpark.
My mistake. Yeah, no, that's absurd. Almost as absurd as the Yankee fans doing a fake candlelight vigil for fucking that dumbass gap-toothed piece of shit Aaron Judge. So, sorry, was that too aggressive?
I mean, we know you don't like him, so you're just you're doubling down on your dislike of Aaron Judge. So that's all I'm taking it as.
I know he's not a piece of shit. I know he's a good guy, and I know he's not dumb. But I think the only factual statement is that he does have a gap tooth. But especially in this day and age where my old tweets will come back or whatever. So this is me right now saying I know he's not done, blah, blah, blah. But that was so ridiculous of the Yankee fans, and just shows how they are not real fans.
So I want to ask you.
David Price gets fucking waxed.
So I want to ask you. I texted this to you last week when the whole Gary Sanchez no hustle thing came out, who then gets placed right on the DL the next day. Little for you.
Coincidence? But I think not.
But do you what's your takeaway on the Yankees right now? Someone who hates them, does this just make you salivate? Are you really excited that you can just now do old school Tiger Woods and just step down on their throats? Do you think that it's this time of the season, or are you a little cautious? You were afraid at first that there was could be the shot in the arm, but now Judge goes down. So how were you feeling as a Red Sox fan with the Yankees' current state?
Well, first and foremost, back on the hustle thing, when Manny Ramirez was here, he very rarely ran hard down to the first base line for the sole reason of he didn't want to pull a hamstring and felt that his bat in the lineup and his home runs were more important than him hustling down the line on a first base infield hit. Now, if I didn't complain about it then, with him, how can I turn around and castrate Gary Sanchez for doing the same thing now? Now, with that said, I think New York and Boston have very similar fan bases and this and that. Now, Red Sox fans, Yankees fans, so quick to turn on their players. 1 week they love them, 1 week they hate them. So I understand. Get them, Jackie. So I understand the Yankee outrage. So in that respect, but if this was Aaron Judge, no Yankee fan says a word.
You think so? I would think so. Aaron Judge, and then how big of a gap? I would say Al Gary's number 2.
The problem is Gary Sanchez had such a bad year this year.
Yeah, that's true, and he has been hurt. That's the other part of it too.
Right. And he's had his problems behind the plate. So
including earlier in that game where he like jogged to a pass ball and the guy scored from second base.
Yeah, exactly. And between the fact that he has the issues behind the plate, hasn't really gotten better since last year, which means he's not really doing the work to get better at blocking balls, throughout the year. And they have a DH now, so they can't just stick him at DH and put a good defensive catcher back there.
Yeah.
Who it seems like a pattern with this young guy who they promoted and blah, blah, blah. So it seems as if getting rid of him, as I mentioned, is sort of the thing that is helping them, or, just sort of a shot in the arm to everyone, sort of a wake-up call. And yeah, Judge going down hurts, but I think the thing that's hurting the Yankees the most right now is the fact that they haven't really strung together consistently a string of games. They've had a lot of rainouts throughout the whole year, and they've had to make it up through random games, doubleheaders, all these other things, and days they get off, they don't really get off. So they've had a lot of rainouts, including recently having 2 in the last 3 series. Or the last 2 series having rainouts, and obviously losing 2 out of 3 to Tampa didn't help. But, I think the fact that they just haven't been able to get in a rhythm, they really haven't been able to get into that sort of, this is our team, this is what we're going to be. They don't have an identity yet, if you will, right?
Sure.
They thought they're going to rely on the long ball the whole time. They thought they're going to be a home run team. But really, the core of that team they're fast. The Yankees are underrated how fast they are. And I was at the Red Sox game Friday night with someone who Jordy, personally, and whom we'll call this person my roommate. And my roommate was mentioning how, and this is a question I wanted to pose to you, baseball has really changed to the point that you could argue that it was more fun, even in 04, even when the Phillies won in, what year was that, 11, 12?
It was 08. It was 10 years ago.
09, whatever it was. Even when they won that year, you could argue that, 08, yeah, you could argue that baseball was better simply because guys were stealing base, but guys are stealing base now, but when someone steals base now, there's no throw from the catcher because they're afraid of it going into the outfield, right? And the pitchers.
You obviously have not watched enough Jorge Alfaro yet. Buckle yourself up.
No, but what I'm saying is pitchers are more worried about not giving up a home run, and batters are really going for a home run, right? 9 out of 10 players are it's a home run type league. They're not comfortable with getting a single, stealing second, somehow getting to third, and then doing a little sack fly to get him in. So it's just one of those things where I think you don't see the small ball of baseball as much anymore. And this is my roommate's take, and my roommate said simply, if it's not a home run, if it's not a home run, it's not a flashy big hit, then the teams don't do well, if you will.
Yeah, there's more. Well, we've seen that where players are going for the home run more, and as a result, you're seeing more strikeouts, which definitely isn't helping either.
Right, and I think that's the state the Yankees are in. Right, you talk about Stanton, who turned around and had 59 home runs last year, or 58, whatever, and you talk about Judge, who also had a great home run year, and it's just one of those things where I think the Yankees and Sanchez, who is a home run hitter, and the new guy they have, who made the All-Star team as a joke, but it's just one of those things where the Yankees are a home run team. If they're not hitting home runs, they're not winning games. So I think they need to go back to their small ball. They have a lot of speed. Gregorius, Gardner, everyone on that team is fat. Even Judge has a bunch of stolen bases. So personally, I think I just feel that they're relying too much on the long ball. And I think if they had any other manager besides Brett Brun's little brother, I think they're doing a lot better than they are.
All right. I like the take.
I think their pitching staff is weak, but now they're that much better with their two J.A. Happ and now this huge guy they just added. So I think their pitching staff is going to get only better. CC is a Red Sox killer recently, which is the only thing that scares me. And the Red Sox have a big four-game set coming this weekend with them, and I know we went on a Yankee rant, but I really want you to answer the question about the long ball versus the small ball way of baseball.
No, so I mean, you're definitely seeing more players go for home runs, but it's because of that you're seeing pop flies, strikeouts, all that stuff. I would say there's analytics thrown into it of probably why you're seeing more and more small ball. Like the Phillies, for instance, I know Gabe the Babe, as you like to call Mr. Kapler, will have Odubel Herrera or sometimes Carlos Santana throw a bunt down. These are the Phillies 3 and 4 hitters. And it's simply to try to get somebody over to third base from if they have first and second. It's worked a couple times. It's failed a couple times. And really, I mean, if it's something where they're trying to get a lead, it's not sexy, but it's a way to try to put a run across the board. It's definitely something where they're trying to be smarter about it. And it's the same thing with the shifts, right? And trying to outsmart a game, trying to outsmart, a sport where 1 microsecond can make all the difference in terms of timing and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's probably the biggest part is analytics. I don't want to poo-poo them too much because there are a lot of good things, and that's why a team can be built like what Theo did in Boston, what he's done in Chicago, what Billy Beane can do in a place like Oakland. He's done this a number of times. And when did the movie take place? 2002. So in the last 16 years, he's been able to make them playoff competitors a number of different times and still somehow come back and do it, even with the quote small market team. So there's going to be some sort of breaking point, some sort of inflection point where we see this pass, and I'm sure we'll see more of these bigger hits. We'll see players probably start to figure out how to hit the ball the other way, drive it towards the power alleys like we all learned when we were growing up. And somewhere along the way, the chicks dig the long ball got people changing up their swing. I think it might have been A-Rod talked about it on a ESPN broadcast, but that's probably the biggest thing is analytics and a little bit of that different swing more upwards rather than trying to drive it and instead just try to fly it, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a really good point that if you're not getting the long ball and you're not able to string together hits, or you're trying to wear a pitcher down more, run up his pitch count and take more pitches, or try to draw walks, which has always been something in baseball. There are guys that have been great at doing that, but definitely, it's just a part of the game. But I do think there's an inflection point coming where we're going to start to see more hits and less strikeouts, because something's got to give. You can't be a team like the Phillies and have pretty much everybody but like 2 or 3 people batting under 250. That's not going to work. It's not sustainable long term.
Right.
So hitting coaches have to change something up, and whether it's in the last 2 months of the regular season in 2018 or spring training 2019 talking point, something's going to change, I'm sure.
Which is a great transition, Jordy, into trade deadline. We already seen some teams who are seller or buyers, I should say. Let's just stick with the buyers. Let's stick with the teams who you think could benefit most. And we already talked about Bryce Harper to the Phillies, and I really think I was thinking about this today in preparation for the pod, and I really think it's a move they should do, and maybe it does take the waiver period to happen, but I really think it's something that the Phillies should start to work out and do, especially since that was a legitimate option for him to be there next year. My biggest guy in the waiting that teams and no one's talking about for some reason is my guy, Hanley Ramirez, sitting there in Miami. Maybe he's not playing, but a proven bat that had won a batting title, won an MVP, was crushing the ball this year earlier for the Red Sox. Obviously they dropped him simply because of the money thing, but how is no one talking about him? How is he not a legitimate option for someone to go get him? And why is his name not being mentioned more? I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer bat that someone can go out and get. That is an easy sign.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there some sort of behind-the-scenes type of thing that we don't know? Like, was he like some sort of scumbag, and that was part of it too?
No, he was a big, good locker room guy. But the problem was, if he reached a certain amount of at-bats, then all these incentives, all these bonuses, all these different things kicked in his contract.
Okay. So, and I'm sure now he got cut 2 months ago, so that these things aren't going to kick in if somebody signs him, right?
Well, that's why they cut him. So Cora and Dombrowski were like, they basically said the exact quote was, because of the whole at bat restriction, we were going to have to start benching him more and more, and he wasn't going to play for multiple games at a time. And Cora basically said he didn't want it to be a distraction to the rest of the team, and that they would constantly be asked about it by the media. It would constantly be brought up. He would have to deal with it every day in and day out. And Cora and Dombrowski basically made it seem like it's strictly a money thing, because for a while there, the Red Sox didn't want to go over the luxury tax because they want to rebuild their farm system, but clearly that's not happening anymore. They are going to go over the luxury tax and lose their, drop the 10 draft picks or whatever happens when you go over the luxury. But it was strictly a money thing, because they was playing every day. He was on pace to hit whatever and reach that batting, that at bat number, because if you hit however many, if he got however many at bats, then, as I mentioned, all these money incentives and bonuses kicked in and what have you. So they figured they sent him through waivers, see if anyone picked him up. No one did. So he's just cut, and sitting on a beach in Miami in his house. So
chilling.
Yeah, certainly not and he was always a locker room guy in Miami and even Boston. So
yeah. Oh, no, that's an interesting point. I haven't seen a ton. I know I've heard him get mentioned for a couple different things, but we'll see. I mean, I'm just trying to think of teams that need infield talent. Maybe the A's could try to get him and add him on. I'm sure they'd love to get more players. I'm trying to think who else might need a player like that. But other guys to keep an eye out for. We mentioned Adam Jones, who it looks like the Orioles are thinking that it's a 55 to 45 that he does get traded. There's a lot of different people from the Blue Jays. Obviously, Osuna's been dealt today. It looks like Tyler Clippard's name's in the mix. Curtis Granderson, that was one that's been floating around with the Phillies, which could be another outfield guy that the Phillies try to look at. Josh Donaldson is one that if a team needs a third baseman, it looks like that could be a big name there. We mentioned the Giants, the Rays. Probably the big one is Chris Archer, and seeing if there are any teams that can meet the price tag the Rays are going to probably want to trade for him. The interesting thing is that he's under contract through 2021. So you'd have to try to figure out, can you afford to pay him? Can you afford to trade for him? So we'll see how that goes. That'll be really interesting. I think he's definitely going to be now that Machado's been traded and everything, he's probably the big blockbuster type of draw. Maybe you see him come in as a Justin Verlander August waiver period type trade. But the other guy, we mentioned it briefly, Matt Harvey. That is the Cincinnati Reds' number one priority. And talk about flipping from I don't watch enough of Fixer Upper or anything like that to give a nice term from it, but really buying low and selling high on him.
They want to trade him?
I mean, the Brewers and the Mariners apparently are interested in trying to get him. And Harvey's done incredibly well for the Cincinnati Reds.
He's wheeling right now.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So is that a hitter's ballpark? Is that a pitcher's ballpark?
Where? Cincinnati?
Yeah.
I mean, the Phillies didn't hit well this weekend, but but I don't know. It looks like that's their number one trade deadline priority, and good for them. They have a lot of young bats. They should hold on to them. It looks like that they're in a much better position to rebuild. We already mentioned their offense, but it's up there in terms of runs scored. They have the second highest behind the Cubs within their division. They are 3 runs away from hitting 500, which we already talked about before. So we'll see how they go and where they go from there. The other one to mention are the Tigers, who I think you're going to see them deal pretty much all of their or a number of their pitchers, not maybe all of it, but we'll see how they go. Guys like Nick Castellanos have been thrown around, but it doesn't look like he might get moved, at least from what I'm reading on a couple different areas like ESPN and Yahoo.
So I think the biggest problem is everyone talks about bullpen, but everyone always talks about bullpen guys. But in reality, Jordy, it doesn't seem like there's outside of 5-6 guys. It doesn't seem like there's and closers. It doesn't really seem like there's good bullpen guys. Obviously, outside the Arizona guys we talk about every week, and the Milwaukee guys we talk about every week, but. There's not really those good setup guys. Not everyone's sort of average or middle of the pack. So I wonder, in the last couple of years, we've seen basically take the starter out early and go to bullpen right away. I wonder if because starting pitching has been so dominant this year, if we're this playoff going to see starting pitchers stay in games even when they're in jams and in trouble. Especially for the Red Sox and Cora, I really hope they don't do the whole let's go to our bullpen thing, because their bullpen has not been good all year.
No, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, there are a number of decent guys that you can try to go out and get. Again, though, it's one of those things of kind of how you said there are quote middle of the pack. So do you want to pay that price to trade for them? I think though, it's probably analytics be damned, but if you have that trust in one of your guys, you might throw that trust into them. But we saw last year in the playoffs where Luis Severino gets pulled after not even 2 outs against the Minnesota Twins. So
I think it was 1 out, right?
I think he just 1 out and you faced 6 batters. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out. I think we're going to see a lot more trades in August. I feel like tomorrow isn't necessarily going to be a dud, but there might be 1 or 2 big names that are thrown around, or names really, and then some of the bigger names get figured out in August, just like with Verlander last year.
Jordy,
Greg,
what's next?
Stadium snacks.
Quickly.
All right, so mine. I know you went to Fenway, so I will start and quickly go. The Erie Seawolves have come up, Greg, with a snack called Buddy the Elf Spaghetti. Of course, referring to the movie Elf. It's spaghetti with candy on top of it.
I love it.
And I think maple syrup as the sauce. But it. I mean, I don't know if anybody's tried it. It doesn't look that appetizing, but if you're a fan of both pasta and candy, it could be one for you. It could also be a heart attack special. So,
so there have been internet things ever since Elf came out of people actually making that pasta and saying it was pretty good. So, just because I feel like the maple syrup just drowns everything out and makes everything taste good. But
that's probably what it is. The maple syrup probably like makes the pasta taste like a pancake.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a bold move. It's a way to get people there for sure.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Good for them. I mean, great find. Did you get to try this, or where is this? You said
it's in the Erie Seawolves, so the opposite corner of Pennsylvania from me. But I saw it on the minor league baseball Facebook and Twitter pages, and knew it had to be something referenced. So I bookmarked that one and had it teed up for you.
I love it. That's a great pick.
Oh yeah. Well, what you went to Fenway? What'd you go with when you were at the game?
I mean, do you even have to ask?
Little Dell's lemonade.
This time I did not get Dell's, but I did get my classic peanuts, a couple of beers. My roommate who went with me got hot dog. It was Fenway Frank, which was, as you know, delish.
Solid.
Boring night, but there is a Tasty Burger. Yeah, Tasty Burger in Fenway, which is pretty good. So,
please tell me Tasty is spelled TAS and then just the letter T, like a hyphen then T.
I think it's the normal way. Sorry.
That's not fun.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. But Jordy, I wanted to hop over quick. I'm not sure if you've had time to talk about it with anyone else. The excitement level that you and I had regarding Tiger Woods.
Oh yeah, no, I have not done a pod. I had the last week off.
And the fact that you and I essentially jinxed him because you and I were both watching, and then for various reasons, you had your thing, I had my thing. We both had to stop almost simultaneously. We stopped watching, and that's really when the wheels fell off for him.
No, I saw the double bogey and the bogey on 11 and 12.
Well, then maybe it was just me. Maybe I'm the bad luck.
Yeah, that's happened before. I know. I forget who it was, but every time this person, when the Phillies were playing the Yankees, when he'd get up to go to the bathroom, the Phillies would let up runs. So we used to make this kid just sit there, and they won that one last game they won in the series, and then fucked it up in Game 6 and lost. But no, that's highly possible. You could have fucked it up, Greg. But yeah, Tiger, though, regardless, he looked fantastic. There were opportunities pretty much on all 4 days that he could have gotten a couple more shots in and could have kept it in. But you can't discount what Francesco Molinari did. The guy's played some unreal golf. He had 2 wins in basically the span of, I think, 3 or 4 weeks. He came over to the U.S. and played in, I think it was the John Deere, which is played in Illinois. And the guy basically did it to just get FedEx Cup points. Normally a big European Tour player, came over, wins, and then goes out and wins the British Open. And at a course like Carnoustie, which showed itself as Carnasty, really did a good job there. So an awesome tournament overall. Tiger gets to qualify for the Firestone, which is this weekend, or the Bridgestone Invitational at Firestone, which he's won 8 times. So we'll see how he does there. Yeah. Definitely one to watch. And the PGA next week out in St. Louis, the 100th PGA Championship, which I refer to as the NBA Finals of championships, because it's never really about the course. It's about the players, just like how the NBA Finals is more about the players, and we care about their rings more than we care about team rings. I know that's probably a hot take for you as a Celtics fan, but that's how I've always perceived it, and definitely my least favorite of the majors, just like how the NBA Finals are my least favorite finals of the 4 major sports.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, I mean, we say it all the time, and everyone says it's a cliche, right? Golf is way better when Tiger Woods is involved. And
No,
blah,
it
blah,
is.
blah.
Have you seen the ratings?
No.
So the ratings for this. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you there, but these were the highest British Open Sunday ratings, I think, since Tiger almost won in 2007.
Yeah.
They're the highest major non-Masters major championship ratings since I think like 2013 or 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, like the Masters is far and away the highest because everybody watches the Masters, and it's a tradition unlike any other. But I mean, this guy, nothing moves the needle like Tiger Woods. A lot of people gave a number of different outlets crap for like only talking about Tiger first, then Molinari and all the different guys that beat Tiger second. But nothing moves the needle like Tiger Woods. He's bringing in the numbers that anything needs, whether it's golf, whether it's baseball, whether it's whatever. Tiger Woods is doing that because the casual golf fan sees a name like Tiger Woods, like, holy fuck, this guy's back.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I mean, it's just exciting. If you're a golf fan, if you're just a sports fan, seeing a guy 10 years and all the different shit he's gone through, all the back surgeries, everything with his ex-wife and Lindsey Vonn and all that different stuff. You know, to see a guy come back like that is, you know, it's exciting.
Agreed. And he is, I don't want to say electric, but
no, it is electric. It really is.
People tune in to see what he's doing, right? The first thing you check is him. And the first, you know, everyone likes Dustin, likes Phil, likes Rory, likes obviously Ricky and Spieth, and oh, they win, that's nice, blah, blah, blah. But when the excitement level and the excitement factor surrounding Tiger Woods, everyone can claim other people are their favorites, but no one is talked about more than Tiger Woods across all sports. And I know we don't do free ads, but I am currently in the middle of reading his book, or the book that just came out about him. And
I need to start it. I have it, and I'm looking at it right now. I've heard it's awesome.
It's unreal. It's really good.
Yeah. All right.
It's really good. Recommend it. No free ads, but yeah, I'm glad you gave me the numbers there for the ratings and everything, because that, you know, you are always the one in the know. So I'm glad you knew this one too. And you know, I'm excited to see where he goes from here. I wish he would start wearing collared shirts again. Yeah,
the new shirts are weird. And a lot of more players are wearing those, where there's like a semi-collar. It's weird. Also, but let's get back to baseball, wrap things up. I know you have a bleacher creature from the game, so I'm going to let you start with yours from Fenway.
I have a bleacher creature from Fenway?
Didn't you say you had? I thought you said offline before we started that you had a bleacher creature from the game you went to. But if you don't, I can give you mine.
It wasn't from the game I went to. It was my Aaron Judge. It was the Aaron Judge.
Oh, the candlelight vigil.
The candlelight vigil that they had. You know, that whole nonsense. So, that was my.
Yeah. So I kind of had. So mine. We had the old man yells at cloud / fucking crazy baseball people. But I got a little bleacher creature special deal for you, Greg.
Ooh.
Yeah, two deals coming out of California. I mentioned the two teams before. The San Diego Padres announced this last week. They have, for the rest of the season, a 5-win pass. And I'll expand on what this means, Greg. You pay $99, and using the MLB Ballpark app, you get to go to as many San Diego Padres games that you want until you see the San Diego Padres win 5 games.
Wow.
So if they keep losing, you can go to every single home game for the rest of the year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Which, I mean, people got worried tanking wasn't going to help the team. $99 just in ticket sales, and then they come and drink beer, get some snacks, and all that good stuff. So
also, if you're the players on the team, how much disrespect are you feeling right now?
Yeah, if you're a player on that team, you're probably feeling pretty shitty. You still have Hosmer, but you just traded away Brad Hand. It's probably a weird feeling in the clubhouse, but then you're seeing you might see more fans come to the game. I hope they're not rooting for them to lose, but
yeah,
yikes.
Yikes is right. That's tough.
It's tough, but
as a fan, it's so smart.
Oh yeah, as a fan, it's a great deal, But here's one that is different. It's for next year for the Oakland Athletics, who are in a playoff chase. They have the third lowest attendance for the year.
Okay.
So what the A's are doing next year, instead of having you buy season tickets and you get all 81 home games, you get, it's called A's Access. And what happens is that you get general admission to every single game for a certain number of games, depending on what level you buy. You get a reserved seat. So for every other game, you just basically get a standing room only ticket. But for only getting a certain number of seats, you get additional benefits that they say include half price concessions, 25% off merch. You can upgrade your seats that are that you didn't get a ticket for, or you didn't get a seat for. You can, instead of having the standing room, you can pay a little more and get to go sit down. But one of the cheapest plan, it looks like it's $240.
Yeah.
And pricing includes $4 beers, $3 hot dogs, and $2.50 sodas.
Damn.
Yeah. So I mean, an interesting way to.
When was the last time you saw a price that low at Citizens Bank Park
for food and beer? I don't think I ever have. Not since I turned 21. Beer's always been more than $10.
I don't think I've ever seen that ever at Fenway, before or after 21.
Yeah, I wasn't buying beer at Citizens Bank when I wasn't 21. I might have had a few beverages beforehand.
Fenway, if you have an out-of-state license, you can't buy beer if you're under the age of 26.
Really?
If you have an out-of-state license, yeah, it's crazy.
Wow, that's nuts. I was about to say I thought you were going to say you just can't buy beer, and I'm like, that's bullshit, because I was there 3 months ago and bought beer. But
no, if you have an out-of-state license, it's under the age of 26 or 25. And for most of the bars around Fenway, you can't get into them either for the same reason, because they assume that most people have.
Yeah, it's a fake ID. That's nuts.
Yeah, because Massachusetts is so hard to get a fake. They just assume that if you're out of state, it's a fake one.
Yeah, it's a fake ID.
Yeah.
Not even if it's a BC or BU kid.
That's the point. Is they're trying to keep all the college kids out.
Interesting. Huh. Well, the more you know. Which also, quick side note: the Phillies yesterday it was yesterday. Oh no, it's Friday. Had some issues getting the game against the Reds on TV. They had technical issues getting the video to connect. Yeah. So instead of they started to play the audio once the game actually started, but instead of doing the pre-game show, just audio, they just kept playing the More You Know ads back to back to back to back to back. They played 12 of those fucking things. Yeah. I was yelling at my TV, and Emily thought it was the funniest thing in the world because I was getting so frustrated.
That's awesome.
But the Phillies steered into the skid. So did NBC Sports Philadelphia, and kept tweeting out hashtag the More You Know and all of this, trying to really make light of the situation. But it was
that's awesome.
It was a scene to be had here. I was because they kept playing that fucking jingle, and I didn't want, and they kept playing the same one over and over. I forget what it is now, but they'd play that every third one was about drinking a water after you have a beer and all that shit. But
that's like the Cars for Kid commercial. I turn off the TV every time it comes on.
Yeah, but let's wrap things up. Let's look ahead to the next week. Obviously, the Phillies and Red Sox are playing right now. Currently, it is 1-0 in the bottom of the third inning. The Red Sox have a runner on base. Shout out to Asdrubal Cabrera, who got his first hit as a Philly and his first run scored. So good job, Asdrubal. But let's look at the other games around the league, Greg. Let's tell the people what to watch out for. What do you got?
So this week, during the week, a series that I'm looking forward to. A big one, obviously, would be the Nationals and the Mets. Big because the Mets we'll see if they're sellers tomorrow, and 2 because the Nationals really need to turn things around and win here for them, and turn around and make make a change, make some moves, and do something to get themselves back in the right position they need to be in, especially coming down the stretch in August.
No, I like that a lot. That's a really good pick. I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Brewers in LA facing the Dodgers.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, we could be seeing a potential NLDS preview, depending on where the Dodgers finish and where the Brewers finish, obviously. But, this is going to be a big series. You got one of your former boys, Greg, Wade Miley, going for the Brewers against Walker Buehler. Looks like that. But then Rich Hill going on the mound against Chase Anderson on Wednesday night, and it's definitely going to be a fun series to watch. Definitely has a major impact on the standings and everything there, and really just a good idea of what we might be seeing going down the line. But
great choice. So that's a great choice. My second pick for the week was going to be Houston at Seattle, but I'm choosing Houston at the Dodgers for this weekend coming up. Obviously, Red Sox Yankees is the actual series you should be looking for, but Houston and Dodgers which is what I'm choosing for the weekend, non-biased.
No, so I'll take you. You already mentioned Red Sox Yankees. I was going to take that because I figured you were going to. So I will then take.
Yeah, I mean, while you look, Red Sox Yankees is especially right now, the 5 games, that difference, that this series this weekend is going to be huge. 4-game set. If you're a Red Sox fan, you hope they at least split so they can maintain their lead.
So do the Red Sox have a Wednesday day off?
Yeah, do that. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is nuts.
The rare Wednesday day
off. Yeah. But so I'm going to go with an interesting one. I'm going to go with San Francisco and at Arizona.
Nice.
We mentioned San Francisco kind of falling out of it, but really, if they can, make a little bit of a dent against the Diamondbacks, they could pull themselves back in and maybe play a little spoiler to the Diamondbacks going forward.
Great pick.
But yeah, I mean, really elsewhere, you're seeing some interesting series, a lot of, put up or shut up type of series, like the Phillies hosting the Miami Marlins for Alumni Weekend. I'm going to try to go to at least one of those games. Flying Hawaiian retirement night, Greg, our boy.
Alumni Weekend.
Yeah, it's like old timers day for other teams, but Shane Victorino retirement night, our boy. He's not your boy. He helped you win a World Series.
He did help them win a World Series.
2 rings.
He
2 rings.
The Flying Hawaiian.
He signed a 1-day contract to retire as a Philly on Friday.
Yikes! Good for him.
Yeah. No, it's a career needing to be celebrated. But yeah, then the Phillies will be putting their Wall of Fame class in. I believe it goes in on Saturday. So they're putting in the late great Roy Halladay, and I think the other one is Pat Gillick, I believe, is the other inductee, who was the GM that helped put together the 2008 Phillies team. So it'll be pretty awesome to see, maybe a little bit of emotion, because the Phillies did something for Roy Halladay at the beginning of the season, but getting a chance to talk about him a little more. They're bringing a lot of those guys back that played with him and from the 2008 team. So it'll be a fun weekend. They're giving out Bradledge, doing the on his knees celebration bobbleheads on Sunday. So it's going to be a fun weekend for the Phils.
I love it. Have fun. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm pretty excited about it. But we will obviously keep you all updated on Twitter, on Instagram, and Facebook. Go follow us, Thunder BLG on Twitter, Thunderblog Sports on Insta and Facebook. But Greg, thank you so much for coming on. As always, this was a ton of fun.
Jordy, thank you for having me. I hope the people are enjoying it. I hope we get some positive feedback and get some fan questions appreciation, because quite frankly, Jordy, if we're not doing it for the fans, who are we doing it for?
Got to do it for the fans. Always for the fans.
Or even the haters.
Oh, and the haters. Gotta always prove the haters wrong. But that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you go jam on that subscribe button on iTunes, Stitcher, and wherever else you get your podcasts. For my man, Greg Piatelli, I am Jordy Cannell, the G-Man, signing off for the Bullpen Cart. Have a good week, everybody. Go Phils.
Go Sox.